anything like that. We've already kind of built the proper way to make sure that we're getting the most appropriate audience for you. And the way that I put this is, imagine it this way. Imagine you're running the 100-yard dash next to somebody else. Let's say you're running next to Usain Bolt, even. It doesn't really matter, but Usain Bolt's just decided to put 10 hurdles in his way. You have nothing in your way. Who's going to get to the finish line first? You're still probably going to beat him. And the reason for it, and the reason I use the metaphor like that is because every hurdle is an exclusion or an inclusion. You're going above and beyond what Facebook's algorithms are already trying to do themselves. Last year, I would have told you the opposite. I would have said you need to build these inclusions or exclusions. You need to select, you need to tell Facebook who to find for you. That's no longer the case. Facebook's algorithm has become so much better at finding us the right audiences that you should just be able to build an ad using what we've already included for you and not worry about anything else. We set the age at 21. Do we expect or anticipate you getting a 21-year-old home seller? No, that's not the idea. But as soon as you say, I'm looking for 35 plus, now you're not going to find anybody lower, which is good. But you've then decided already you're going to pay Facebook considerably more per click, per lead, per everything. You're going to pay a lot more money. Now, that 21 to 35-year-old age range, even though we're not really looking for as many people within that gap, Facebook knows that already. But when you open up the window, you allow Facebook to do what it does better. It's going to do a much better job. If you're noticing people like other realtors, if you're noticing people coming through that you're not interested in, then retroactively we go back and I can show you how to make those certain exclusions. However, it's much more beneficial to leave it open. And then as to that one slide that we showed briefly here, what you guys are going to see rolling out in your accounts here really soon, if not today, is in your contact screen. We have the ability now to tell Facebook how good these leads are. So for instance, they'll have 4 tabs, one that says talked or spoken to, booked appointment. There it is, so talk to, booked appointment, close have the listing and close the deal. So every so often, once a month, basically, we're going to send this information to Facebook so they'll know, okay, so obviously this is a test page. You can tell that by looking at it. But let's say this top one here, I've spoken to them. Okay, I click on that. Now, when we tell Facebook what's going on, they look for more people like this individual for you. They're going to say, this is somebody who's moving forward with the program. I'm going to find more people like this. If you've closed the deal, okay, this is hot. This is absolutely the kind of people we're going to try and find you. So we do things a little bit differently now than we would have last year. Obviously, you have to always be changing with the algorithm. But certainly, I would say in terms of the demographic and what we're selecting, let the default parameter run.
So tell them real quickly how to set up these ads. I mean, so let's go into this idea of, hey, I want to test out different seller ads. I don't care too much about how my ad is performing so far in trial. I need to change it up. I want to tap into these numbers at least. I want to try to meet or beat the $2.37 cost per lead, the $19 phone number, the cost per email, 622. So what do I do?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, you need to increase the likelihood of you finding that ad that works best. Most of our ads are going to perform very well, but it's increasing the likelihood. So run more ads. So now that doesn't mean to run 3, 4, 5, 6 ads for a week or 2 weeks or a month, but certainly for say 2 or 3 days, run as many ads as you're comfortable supporting the ad budget on for, I'd say, 3 days.
Okay, and so let's build a couple variations of.
Let's start with a micro ad. So since we're in Kelowna, let's start there. Okay. And you guys can do this for any city that you're in. Next, you type in the same city name in the map image. You can choose from one of the 3 image types: map, satellite, or map plus terrain. This is satellite.
Should I be testing them all?
You could test them all. I would start by testing my area first. So I would use a similar image style on my Kelowna ad, my other city ad, and another city ad, or whatever we're doing. Use the same image type. But then once you've identified the right city or the right area, the zip code, whatever you want to be, then you can go back in time and test image differentials. But for now, I would say we just do something similar. So Kelowna, done deal. You'd hit next. Okay,
and you got map, terrain, and satellite images. So just so you guys know, it kind of looks pretty unique when you get zoomed in on the satellite, but you would really want to use it when you're going super zoomed in, so you can actually be concentrating on specific features like the downtown area, for example. And when you look at the map versus the terrain, they all can hit. We've seen them hit very well. The terrain's really cool when you've got the surrounding mountains, just like you can see. So just know you have 3 different I would say variations that you can run, all of which could hit very nicely on Facebook. Okay.
And next, you're going to choose your targeting. And since we've referenced only Kelowna, we only want to choose Kelowna. You don't want to go outside of that on a seller's ad. You're going to lower your relevancy and increase your cost per click if you do so. So one city, one target, we're good to go there. Hit deploy, we've got an ad.
And you got to go. Okay, and now let's give them an idea of how to tap into a macro ad.
So I would do the same thing. We'll skip past this now. I would do the same thing for a couple different cities. I would do maybe 2 or 3 micros. So Kelowna, Vernon, Lake Country, something like that for where we live. But for you guys, that's what you're going to want to do on your own side. Right now, we're going to show you is the idea behind a macro ad, which is the combination of your favorite cities. So you reference that in the top. For us, we live in an area called the Okanagan. So I could use that. I could say your Okanagan home. For you guys in the States, maybe you want to use your county. And you don't want to necessarily go after the whole county or the whole area, but only the cities that you're interested in. So something like this, Silicon Valley, it makes more sense for you guys in the States. So let's use that. Silicon Valley is going to be what we reference. So anybody, then any of the cities that fall under that banner would see the verbiage Silicon Valley and say, yep, that's me. That's the idea of a macro ad. So now we're going to use imagery reflective of the area. And then when it's time to choose targeting, we don't have to put in every city in the Silicon Valley. I mean, you could drop a pin and do a 5, 10, 50-mile radius, or just choose, Palo Alto, San Jose. Choose some of the places that are within that area, that county, whatever it may be, so long as, once again, they fit the label that you've given the ad. You can choose 2 cities, 10 cities, 20 cities, whatever you like. Hit next, and you're done.
I'm going to show you just the idea. If you wanted to drop the pin, you could do it this way as well. Where you're going to go San Jose, let's click a 5-mile radius, San Jose, let's even do like a 20-mile radius, for example, just to show you the difference. Because if I wanted to call it the South Bay, if you want someone wanted to buy your South Bay home, for example, click done. And you want to do one or the other, else they won't launch. So don't do drop the pin and particular areas, and then click next, and you kind of can launch it that way. But as far as the buyer side, give them a quick idea on how to run this buyer one. Maybe go, hey, here's a great one, Kelowna with pools, right? Early notification list, pick from stock. You can use something like here, right? And now realistically, we know in Kelowna, if you were looking for a pool in a nice home like this, that'd probably be like $799. So be realistic with the type of architectural style and the call to action that you're using. But then when you click next there, you also want to pick from stock for the landing page. This is the landing page that when we want them to feel like they're in home. So on that landing page, make sure you actually click into an interior landing page image, click next. And in this case, similarly, I would want to drop a pin on the buyer side because buyers are coming from in and around the area. So make sure you do something like a 25 to 50-mile radius of homes in Kelowna. Okay, Logan, mute yourself. I can hear you typing. It's annoying.
I pulled a Troy, did I?
You just totally did. And so when you do that, this is kind of the idea, right? So you go back, see the radius. I want buyers that are coming from in and around the area. Obviously, I can go as big as that's possible. Think about how the key we're trying to tell you guys is don't limit yourself, because if you understand this, the wider you go with your algorithm, the wider you go with your targeting, the more opportunities you have for Facebook to find that ideal buyer and seller. The narrower you go, the more limiting it is. So don't put those hurdles up in front of you. Let Facebook determine where the success is. That's the only thing I can recommend for you guys. Outside of that, we're going to be teaching you and coaching you and training you, but go out there and test. I always tell people this: launch half a dozen ads, run them all at $10 a day. Listen to me, this might sound like, oh no, I don't want to spend $60 in one day. You don't have to. If you run all 6 ads today, when you wake up tomorrow, you probably have spent maybe $20, $25 so far in that potential $60 ad spend if you're launching them all at 10. Now, if one of them starting off at 50 cents a click, you're letting that continue. If one of them starting off at $4 a click, stop it. You've spent $4, but in that you had a great learning lesson that ad is not going to perform. We find that the ads perform right away or they don't. That's just
Hey, Marcus, should we update an existing ad or create a whole new one to see the
create a whole new one? Pause the one that's not working. Create a whole new one. That's my recommendation. Yeah.
And the idea with the split test early on is, once again, give yourself, you don't want to be, You have to use the scientific method is the easy way for me to put this. And you want to have as much control over things as you can. So if you run, one ad today and then you pause it and you test a different ad tomorrow. Now, was it the ad that was doing any better or worse? Or maybe that day just happened to be hot. Maybe the market conditions were better. Maybe Facebook's algorithm was having an issue yesterday and now it's better today. It doesn't matter. You really want to test everything at one time. That way you actually spend a little bit more money up front, but you save money, a considerable amount of money long-term because you're not guessing with anything. You run 2 ads, 3 ads, 6 ads for 2 days. You then say, okay, of my 6 ads, which one is my best ad? This one here, I'm going to let this one run long-term. And then you probably can set it and forget it for well into the future. But you kind of need to kind of take that leap, so to speak, and build as many as you can early on.
Yeah, I mean, think of all the potential too, and the beauty behind this buyer to seller one, and guys, by the way, you can see we have a ton of funnels available to you once you move beyond the trial. We just don't want to overwhelm you in the beginning, so we're giving you a couple. Like for example, this buyer to seller one is amazing because if you think about it, let's say if I was running in the Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley and anywhere in California right now is crazy. So I'd probably be on the Silicon Valley with rental suites or, even with carriage homes. Okay. And I'm, maybe perhaps we did 999 because let's be honest, you're not going to find anything in that area with carriage homes at under 999 or under $1 million. You pick from stock, find an architectural image that would fit that. And there's a lot of different types here. So that's the key. You got to find something that's suitable to that price point. Make it realistic or else people will be like, there's no way you can find that in that area. Right. So make it realistic. Number one. And then when you click next, you got to pick from stock, like we talked about, interior image. And then again, this is where I would do something like this. I would type in, drop a pin, San Jose, for this example, because the Silicon Valley is huge, and I would do this massive, potentially 50-mile radius type of understanding because I know I can move this around. By the way, I can move this up a little bit. I can drop multiple pins because I know everybody's looking for a home in the Silicon Valley where they can make some income in cash. So just know there's a lot of potential. I'd say mess around with the drop the pins, and we're here to help you with that, of course.
Yeah, sellers ads, you want to limit your targeting to the areas that you're referencing. Buyers ads, you want to go considerably larger. And also the other reason why I like running buyers ads, and one extra thing I guess is making sure you add that amenity in there. I think that's important because people, when they're shopping, they shop area first, price second, amenity third, but it is still on the list. So for instance, I always use the example of let's say myself, if somebody comes to me and says, I want to buy your home or would you want to sell your home? I can get you, let's say $800,000. I'm sitting there thinking, I don't really want to sell my home. That's not where I'm looking to go right now. However, what's the one thing I'm currently missing? I don't have a pool. I want a pool, and I want a pool desperately. So if somebody then comes to me and says, hey, would you like to see a list of homes under 900,000 maybe with a pool? Okay, now I'm interested. Now I'm going to start looking. You start investigating. You start seeing some homes that do match what you're looking for. Now I've gone from I'm not at all interested in selling my home to now I want one of these homes with a pool. Right now, all of a sudden, who's going to get my listing? The agent who I'm starting to search pool homes with. So you kind of connect those dots a little bit for people and find what they're looking for. Income suites in a school district, pool homes.
Well said. I mean, Logan, I think we both know that because of the top of funnel nature of Facebook, you can't lose on either end. With the seller end, we always have you ask those questions as early as you possibly can and build rapport of what they love most about their home, because they'll tell you, it'll go back to the idea of when they first purchased their home, what was it that most excited them about that home? That was generally the same feature or whatever they love that you're going to talk about as that future buyer coming on that home. Number two, and equally as important, is if there's one thing to change about that home that you would change about that home, what would it be? Because that's going to show you where they're wanting to go, which is why the buyer to seller funnel is so great, because those buyers that are coming in are probably also those sellers. You'll see a lot of the times they're already starting to look, but they're not yet even sold or considering selling. So you actually double in the deal because of the nature of top of funnel marketing, which is you're getting to them earliest. So it's a phenomenal opportunity to become somebody who can actually get to that relationship first. And if you do it well, and you do it with this intention of getting into a relationship, and serving and getting value and really uncovering and getting into relationship, you'll find that this will pay huge dividends. I always like to go in this kind of, I'll just share my screen really quickly. Let's see, share. So if you look at this ROI calculator that we have, let's see if I can find it here. The system it pays itself really fast. So, I mean, if you think of any of you guys' market, we'll just use this average deal amount of 8,000, and, we can even put it down. Let's just put it 5,500 and just pretend, that's the average deal amount you get as a commission check. And you're into this for 6 months, you're spending $10 a day, and you're only able to convert 0.5%, which would be, I think you could actually let the system do its thing without any custom or editable automations, and you could easily convert 0.5% of these leads, and you would still get 6 times your return on investment. Now, when you start working with us on video embedding and Calendly links and asking the right questions and scripts, that goes up, right? And all of a sudden, the return on investment goes higher and higher and higher. So just think of it this way: you're never going to spend more than $6 a day with StreetText. It's going to really come down to your ad spend. So make sure with the ad spend, you're really focusing on the ideal ads and really focusing on making sure that every experience you give to those leads, including the address onlys, are ones that you can actually measure. And so you're going to think about your mailers. You're going to think about the Facebook as a CRM idea. You're going to think about looking at every single person as somebody you can put into a list on Facebook, send a friend request to, and a message. And you're going to have all your emails as well as your mailers reflect that same thing. So we'll teach you some cool things moving forward. And we have a weekly mastermind where we go over a lot of this stuff as well. I think we nailed it, Logan. I think that's all of it until I'm going to stop the recording.
Yeah, so much